Hey, I'm Brianna Hosack, and this is the Bingeable Business Trainings podcast, bringing easy to follow and wildly informative, high-value trainings for spiritual women starting out in online entrepreneurial businesses. These training topics were crowdsourced based on the needs of the women in my business supporting group coaching membership called the Butterfly Network, in which I share my own successful entrepreneurial business knowledge going back all the way to 2012 when I started my first business, and encompassing multiple tens of thousands of dollars invested in coaching and training since then, so that you don't have to take food off the table to get your business off the ground like I had to once upon a time. As a certified advanced level shamanic practitioner and a level 2 certified Holy Fire Reiki practitioner, I bring a level of spiritual understanding and feminine flow to the deeply structured and disciplined masculine go. And as an authentic business leadership coach and mentor, I teach you the way to run your business that works for you and your unique life without all the cookie cutter crap, while stepping into leadership of yourself, your family, your community, and the world. If you'd like to find out more about the Butterfly Network membership, you can find more information in the show notes of any episode, and if there are spots available at any given time, enrollment is open. In the meantime, listen in for tons of free value and clear coaching advice so you can take your business from idea to sold in no time. If you do find value here, make sure to subscribe and share this podcast with anyone you think it might help. And if you're ready for high value coaching support and powerful sisterhood with other women in business, all at a record low price, crawl on over into the Butterfly Network membership, Caterpillar. Let's get you your wings. Today, we are talking about your way is the only way. And I'm feeling a little spicy today, so don't mind me. But you will have heard this. You'll have heard this from multiple people. I'm not sure if you will have heard it from somebody who will do it quite as nitty gritty as me, or quite as spicy as I say. I'm feeling spicy today. But your only way that is going to be successful for you is your way. And this is the only way that's going to work because it will help you to do it without burnout, without forcing, which is pushing or pulling. If you are listening to the Suspending Disbelief podcast, you will have heard me talk about the little mini brain explosion that I had watching my kids' show, where it was like my 3-year-old's show, and they were talking about force being pushing or pulling. And I was like, oh my gosh, I always think of it just as pushing, but not also as pulling. Anyways, you don't want to be forcing, pushing, or pulling. And doing it your way is going to help without remove all of the confusion and even the squirrel brain, right? The shiny object syndrome. So how do you find your way though? So this was one of the biggest problems for me when I started out online, was that I was like, I don't know what I don't know. So I want to go and learn from the experts. And I signed up for all the things and paid way too much money for things that I wasn't ready for. Also, I did benefit from it. I don't look at any of that as wasted, although it was probably more than it needed to be. Because for me, anything that I try that doesn't work for me, I always look at that as a learning lesson. So I learned these methods from other coaches, from other gurus, whatever. And then I would just take what applied to me. And I've always kind of applied that methodology to everything that I do, is that I take what works for me and I ignore what doesn't. And I mean, I've done that since I was a kid. My parents really hated it. So you can, in order to find your way. The problem for me was that it took a really long time, right? It was having to learn all the different methods and then pick and choose what parts worked for me. And then even then it was like, there was holes in it and there was pieces that I just was like, I don't know anybody that does this in a way that I like. What are the other options? And for a sacral led responding manifesting generator, it is hard to come up with just outside the box thinking. Sometimes I can be pretty good at it, but there are times where I'm like, I just don't know what I don't know. And so it makes it really tough for me. So finding what my way was, when coaches would say that, I was like, I don't know what my way is because I don't know what all the options are. So I don't know which one to choose from. And the difference is that you don't have to choose one of them. You get to just create it and have it be completely unique and different. That was something that I didn't grasp right away, that I could just do it however I wanted or not do it. I could leave parts out that I hated. I could add things in that no one else was doing, all of that. So to find your way, you can do what I did. You can try all the different ways and find the most aligned ones to see what feels good for you. And it won't be quite right, but it will be better. It did help, right? I did find things that were helpful for me. You can learn all the ways and patchwork them together, like I was talking about, or you can start from scratch and it will be unique as fuck, right? But it will probably not work at first. It will probably fail just because if you don't have the experience of like, this is what is required, this is what like the bare minimums, right? If you are just starting from scratch and you have no concept of what that might look like, that can show up as it just falling flat. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, because again, I believe that those failures, so to speak, are actually learning lessons, right? So what I did, again, which did work, not necessarily the best way, was to take what I learned in each of the different scenarios in each case and say, what would it look like in my shoes? So I have always done things my own way. I've always been a march to the beat of my own drum type person. So it would be like, okay, they say this. If I pretend in my mind that I'm doing that exactly in my business, how does that feel? And does it feel good? Does it suck? Is it just kind of like or does it feel amazing? And then I would change it based on their original thing, but I would change it to something that fit me. And that is really powerful. So for all of you, I know that all the members of this membership are farther along in their journey than not knowing anything, right? So you guys are not brand new. So what you can do here is you can actually take what you've already learned. You can take all these pieces that you've learned from me, from other coaches, from some of you I know have like a one-on-one coach. Some of you are in group programs other than this one. Most of you are like me and doing all the things, right? So look at each piece of what you're learning. And instead of just taking it at face value, say, does that feel good for me? And if it doesn't, instead of just like tossing it, look at it and say, well, how could I do this particular thing in a way that would feel good for me? And then tweak it. And that is a good starting point for thinking outside the box. That is where you're able to shift from, well, they said to do it this way, into, I'm still going to accomplish this necessary thing, but I'm going to do it in my own way. And the most important thing that you can do on this journey is to discover who you are, right? So the journey of life, exploring what you like, what you don't like, what feels good and what sucks, and then learning to trust your instincts, right? So when you have a thought about something like, I don't want to do that, trust that and look at, okay, well, what can I do instead? Don't just dump it. What can I do instead? So trusting your instincts about how you feel about things as they happen to you, as they happen for you, as they happen around you. The more you lean into trusting your instincts, your own intuition, the more aligned the things that you're doing in your business are going to feel. Okay. And then just put everything through the lens of that, of what feels aligned and what doesn't. And I mean, everything. I mean, down to, I've had clients, and I myself have been told by a coach to shorten my posts when they're really long. And I've even said this to people. I'm like, it's really long. That might be what might be making people not read it. But here's the thing. If writing long form content is your thing, start a blog, right? And then share your blogs and just a little snippet of it as posts in the places that you're marketing, whether that's Facebook, Instagram, whatever. You can just share that little snippet of the content and direct people away to your website. Note, be careful, especially Facebook is very resistant about outside links. So don't put them in your posts, put them in the comments, or have a link tree in your bio, or whatever, or just drop the links in the comments. If it's in your spaces, you'll still be able to do that, at least at this point. If you're in other people's groups, a lot of the time they're going to pending now, and the group owner has to approve that, which is kind of a pain in the ass. But I also kind of get where it's coming from, because there's so much spam out there, right? So once you put everything through the lens of what feels good for you, what doesn't, and figuring out, okay, well, how am I going to do it instead? Then you can look at the full picture and say, like, where are the gaps? What do I not know yet? What do I still need to learn? Or what do I need to creatively come up with something to fill it in? So find the gaps, then fill the gaps, right? And add your flair to everything that you do. Really be yourself and letting go of that fear that like other people are going to judge. Yeah, some of them are. And who gives a fuck? Because when we show up as our authentic selves, people can feel the fire, right? It just lights people up to read our content. It creates raving fans. It creates, loyal followers, all of that kind of stuff. And when you have raving fans and loyal followers, they buy your stuff. Okay. It just is how it is. And I can say that from experience. When I am actively selling and I am in my authenticity and I have offers that I know are aligned for my ideal clients and I'm clear on who my ideal client is, what my offer is, all of that stuff, they sell like hotcakes because people are obsessed because it's authentic. And so when I'm being authentic, I get those reactions constantly where it's just like, holy shit, like, yes, 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 right? Instead of crickets. So always making sure that you are revisiting now and then, right? So this is like every month in the membership group, I have posted a reminder, and I'm not sure how many of you see it, but at the end of the month, I always post a reminder. Hey, look back at your last month and see what's been working and what hasn't. And when you do that, when you consistently do that and you tweak your behaviors based on what wasn't working, even if you're like, okay, it wasn't working, but it was supposed to work, so I'm just going to do better this time. That doesn't work. Look at what wasn't working for you. Ask yourself why it wasn't working. If you don't know, reach out. That's what this membership is for. Reach out to me and say, why isn't this working for me? And we will brainstorm that together. We will work through that together and figure out what your problem is. And the more you bring it and the more detail I have, the more I can help you to figure out your unique solution, because it is unique to you. And when you look back and you see, okay, this was working really well for me, again, ask yourself, why was that working well? What felt good about that? And then you can add more of that in. You can just bring more of the juiciness and make your business feel amazing. And I'm not saying that I'm perfect at going back every month and looking, but if you are consistently going back and saying what was working, what wasn't, why, and making tweaks based on that, again, both positive and negative, you will feel in alignment and lit up by your business all the time. Okay. So when you're doing that, things are going to change. You're always going to be constantly making these little pivots, and you don't end up burning down your business because you've made these small pivots along the way, and you never get to a point where you're like, I fucking hate this. This sucks and it's not working. Right now, there are times where you come up against something and it's like, okay, I don't like doing it this way. I want to make a change. I have no idea what that change should look like. So for anyone who wants like specific breakdowns, now some of you don't think like this and some of you do, and I know that. So thinking outside the box looks like, how would I do this if no one else would ever know? Okay. Do that thing. So if you're worried about what people are going to think about what you're doing, you are going to hold yourself back from success, from alignment, from feeling amazing in your business. Do the thing as if no one else was ever going to know about it. And it's going to feel so aligned and so good for you. And you're going to feel like you're just on fire in your business and things are amazing. If you are too scared to do the thing, at least take a step towards it so that you are gradually helping yourself become comfortable with it. Okay. So if it feels like it's way too far outside of your comfort zone, figure out the next step towards it. The less scary little baby step. Okay. And again, if you don't know what that is, or you can't break it down to figure out what that might be, bring it into the membership, ask those questions. That's what this is for. When you do know, trust the shit out of yourself. Okay. Do it. Follow your instincts, because you ladies are all brilliant. So if you want to lead, if you want to make an impact, if you want to create change and make a lot of money, you have to do something that makes people stop and stare, right? Something that makes people go, what the fuck? And it's okay if they're like, what the fuck is she doing? Why would she do that? It also makes them go, I kind of want to know more. It's almost like a car accident when they're driving by. They're like, I want to know what happened. Like that looks scary and different and out there, but I want to know what happened there. And so people slow down and you get like the rubbernecking going on and all of that. Do something that makes people stop and stare. So when you have those thoughts, like, if no one would ever know, I would do it like this, but that's too scary to do out loud or in front of people, that's what you want to do. That's really your only way to the most success, to the most alignment, to the biggest and most comfortable and juiciest and most abundant business, right? So yeah, doing something that makes you stand out. If you are too scared to stand out, and this is where I'm going to get a little bit spicy, you guys. If you're too scared to stand out ever, you will never make it. End of story. You will not achieve massive success. Okay. And it's very true that you don't have to have a different product, topic, or service than anyone else, but how you do it and who you are and the energy you bring must be different. Okay. If you're copying anyone at all, even in like little pieces here and there, you will maybe not fail all the way, but you won't achieve that level of success that you could if you got into that full alignment. So yeah, again, you might succeed for a little while, but again, burnout, shiny object syndrome, all of that, pushing so hard and not allowing, it's just not sustainable, right? So that's where people burn out. That's where people fold. And it's because they're trying to do something in a way that is not aligned with their unique energy, with their unique perspective, with their unique values, etc. Colonialism and the corporate world will teach you that you need to fit in, right? That standing out is dangerous, right? That you can only succeed if everybody likes you. And that is for people who want to be directed. Okay. I won't even say that there's something wrong with that. But if you want to be an entrepreneur, if you want to start your own business and create change and make a difference in the world, that's not for you. Yeah. Fuck that. That's right. So that's for people who don't have their own like unique ideas. Okay. And that's, again, I'm not trying to be insulting about that. There are people of all types, all shapes, all sizes. And that is right for some people. But if you're in this membership, you are an entrepreneur. And if you are an entrepreneur, that's not what you want. So don't do that. So don't follow. Don't be one of the sheeple. Okay. It's not sustainable. It is not going to get you to the success that you crave. It is not going to give you the feeling in your business that you're wanting so badly by creating your own thing. It is not going to sustain your energy, etc. So again, that's for people that don't have their own ideas, which is fine, but you have your own ideas. So people that don't have their own ideas, they're comfortable where they're at in corporate, being told what to do, being told what's next, following instructions, and that's great. Okay. But are you comfortable where you're at? Okay. I'm going to say probably, right? Even if where you're at is horribly painful, stressful, you're broke as fuck, all of those things, you're probably pretty damn comfortable where you are because you're used to it. Okay. And if you want something to change in the world, anything, you have to get uncomfortable. So if nobody had ever gotten uncomfortable, we wouldn't have electricity. We wouldn't have cars. We wouldn't have planes. We wouldn't have any of the technologies and advancements that we have. Entrepreneurship is the way to create change, right? And if you aren't willing to get uncomfortable, you might as well go back to corporate right now. Okay. If you aren't willing to stand out and risk being teased or insulted or denied, you might as well give up on your dreams and head back to the patriarchal bullshit that keeps you so damn comfortable. Okay. If you aren't willing to stretch out of your comfort zone for your dreams, for your big dreams, if you just want it to fall in your lap, it's time to get a job. Okay. Getting uncomfortable might mean working later at night sometimes than you're used to. It might mean posting your opinion and not just facts all the time, no matter what people's reaction might be. It might mean sharing part of your personal world with the big, wide, scary world and deciding that you're willing to be vulnerable, right? It might be something with your appearance or swearing or how you do your hair or quitting the fake tanning beds or whatever the case may be, becoming more and more aligned with your authenticity, getting to know yourself better and showing up in that way is what makes the difference. That is what will help you to create actual change and get out of your comfort zone. When you get out of your comfort zone, that's when you move forward. Okay, so if you're feeling comfortable, even if you totally get these principles and you are a free thinker and all of those things and you do things your own way, we can still it's like we hit a plateau, right? And everything just seems kind of like, yeah, it's fine. I'm comfortable. I'm comfortable being uncomfortable, or I'm, all of these things. So if you've gotten comfortable, I'm challenging you right now to get uncomfortable again. Think, what would I want to do if nobody would know about it? And go do that. Okay. Getting uncomfortable might mean that you hear the word no more times than you can count. It might mean that you get rejected, right? And if you are in my world, especially if you have ADHD, maybe you experience RSD, or rejection sensitive dysphoria, as a part of how your ADHD shows up. And that means that you can choose to play it safe, or you can learn how to handle your RSD so that you can experience rejection if you must, so that you can do the big, scary, impactful thing. Okay. And maybe getting uncomfortable for you means becoming aware of your RSD and doing the research and learning how to manage it before you do anything else in your business, right? There's no wrong place to start, but if you aren't going to start, then you might as well stop. Okay. If you aren't willing to change by doing something that makes you uncomfortable, how will you ever convince anyone else to change so that you can create big change in the world on a bigger scale, so that you can create ripples, right? If you are willing to, for example, just an example, take 3 months to complete a task like writing out a list. If that's what's stopping you from the next step, what stops you from taking 3 years to write that list? And if it takes you 3 years to write a list, I promise you, you will never change the world in a big way. Okay. Whatever it is that has been holding you up from massive forward momentum, whatever thing makes you question yourself and feel insecure, that is where you need to lean in. That is where you need to make different choices, make small changes, take baby steps, right? And just move. Okay. That is the secret. Lean into what makes you uncomfortable. Lean into what makes you stand out. That's how you find your way, your unique way. That is the only way that will work for you. Start with the obvious. Okay. So for me, that looked like talking about loving dill pickles. Okay. It made me stand out. And I didn't even intend it that way. I just talk about how I am. I've never really put on a filter. But it did. It made me stand out, even though it was nothing really special. Saying dill pickles are my favorite food. People were like, what? Are you, what? And it stuck out, and people remembered me like, oh, you're the pickle lady, literally. And I wasn't ashamed to be the pickle lady. So find your starting point and just start. That's the point, right? Then keep leaning into the uncomfortable bits, always a little at a time, right? And you will eventually arrive at what your true unique edge is, which is a much, much deeper, more complex thing than my favorite food being dill pickles, right? I promise you that. But the best part is about all of this that you don't have to start there at the scary end. You just have to start. You will eventually find your way if you continue, and you will never go back. Once you find your way, you will never go back to doing things someone else's way again, because you will thrive and you will shine and you will feel amazing and you'll be so fucking happy that you won't even know what hit you. And you would never take a step back from that intentionally and walk away from that feeling. I can promise you that. So I have 2 questions for you, and I would love for you to share, but even if you just answer them for yourself, that's fine. Number 1, what is your starting point, standout thing? What is the one thing that really stands out about you that is unusual, something that is going to make people remember? Okay. Number 2, what is your current sticking point? What is making you uncomfortable and holding you back right now? Or conversely, where are you so comfortable that you're not moving forward? Okay. And then I have a double-sided challenge for you. So first of all, share the crap out of your starting point. Whatever that is, share it, share it, share it, share it, share it. Mention it all the time in comments, in conversations with people as you are creating relationships, in your intros that you post in other groups. And then when you find an uncomfortable spot that you can lean into, share the crap out of that next step and do it again and again and again. Let people love you. Let them love your quirks and your idiosyncrasies, right? And the weird things about you. Let them love it, because we all have them. And when you let go of that fear of being rejected, people don't tend to reject you. And when they do, it doesn't matter, because you're literally just being you, and people are going to love it. Most people will love it. And so you'll have so much positive feedback that those negative ones won't hit as hard. And the other side of this coin, move. Okay. Move on the thing that is making you feel uncomfortable, or that you are staying comfortable and you see that uncomfortable thing and you're just avoiding it. Move towards it. If you don't know how to move, if you're not sure, like I said, what a tiny step in the right direction is, what the next baby step might be to get out of your comfort zone, share your sticking point in the Telegram chat and let me help you find the next step. Okay, I'm really good at finding the next step, and I can do that with anybody. So put it in there so that I can help you. That's what you're in this membership for. Okay, so I hope that was helpful and not too spicy for you ladies today. Okay, I love you. I believe in you. You've got this, and I'm here when you don't.
Thanks for listening in. I hope this training was exactly what you needed when you needed it. If it brought you value, make sure to subscribe and share this podcast with anyone it may help. And if you're ready for high-value coaching support and powerful sisterhood with other women in business, all at a record low price, crawl on over into the Butterfly Network membership, Caterpillar. Let's get you your wings.